Pastor Eric will start us off.
All right, I'm good. I got my thing that hopefully works. Thank you guys for being with us today. Before we get into some of the data and information that we really are excited to share with you, let me just kind of mention a couple, not even ground rules or anything like that, but just kind of like parameters that we're working with. First of all, we're going to try to keep this as simple as possible. We're going to kind of come from a 25, 30,000 foot level instead of getting to the trenches because we just don't have time for that. Secondly, those are really reserved for, I think, really one-on-one conversations, which we want to keep relational. So we're going to try to keep things simple and at a higher level. And it also means that hopefully this spurs some questions in you, but we're not going to have questions today. Again, we don't have time for that. Secondly, we want your question to have the attention and the time that your question deserves. And so if you do have a question, which again, we hope that you do about any of this stuff, we hope that you will write it down and that you will find some time to get face-to-face with me or one of the staff, but probably especially one of the elders right here on stage. So we would love to carry that conversation with you. And again, give your question and your thoughts the attention and the time that it really needs. So with that in mind, I have a privilege of starting off with some celebration points. Now, these things are not going to be a surprise to you. These are the things that we're celebrating for the whole year of 2024. So on the screen, you're going to see our celebration points, and these are the things that are really indicating to us that God is moving here in a way that is indicating growth, not just numerical growth or financial growth, but spiritual growth. And these are the things that we've decided are helping us discover those things. And so just look on the screen. These are really exciting. I can't read the 0.2 font on that screen up there, but I can read back here. We had 65 baptisms last year, guys, and that is incredible. It might not be the 200 or 300 baptisms you heard happen at that other massive church somewhere else, but in the time right now where baptisms are becoming more and more rare, we had 65 people make their faith public last year right here at Brookside Church, and we hope the same thing and even more this year. We have 27 families dedicate their children to know and love Jesus, and that is huge because we believe discipleship happens best in the home. And we believe parents who are committed to raising their kids to know and love Jesus in the home creates the most resilient disciples. And that's a big number for us. We also had 23 new members, which, by the way, I'll talk about in just a little bit. Membership is big for us because we believe these are the people that not only embrace Brookside as their home, but are going to carry the mission of Brookside in and around their own life. And so that's a big deal to us as well. Membership here, and we can talk more about that later. But we also gave away 43 new believer kits last year. And that's huge because a lot of people say, a lot of churches can sometimes unfortunately say, we don't know if anybody was saved this year. And that's not to be a detriment or a hit on anybody else, but we're just celebrating that God is changing lives here at Brookside Church, and we're able to track 43 of them. I inflated the numbers. I'm not allowed to do that, am I? Anyway, so more stuff. We had 736 average attendance last year, which, by the way, is a 10+% growth from the year prior. And we're hoping to see even more of that growth this coming year. You guys, I don't have to go through all of those things. You guys can see the numbers up there. Some of them that you wouldn't even expect, like 335,000 views on social media. That is a big deal. Now, that's sometimes you guys watching 2 or 3 times a week, and that's fine. But 335,000 views online. And if you want to talk about return on investment, our online presence is generating significant return on investment and generating really, really good comments and conversations. So we're going to try to lean even more into that platform. So just some things that we're celebrating. Again, it's all of 2024 that we hope God will keep moving more into the future. I just want to speak for a moment, if I can, on our vision. I mentioned it in the sermon today, but our vision is as strong today as it was several years ago when we started it. And that is that we want to build Jesus-centered homes through healthy relationships. And we believe when that happens, more of our communities around us will be saturated with the gospel. And I'm not just talking about theoretically. I'm talking about Arlington Park. I'm talking about Cherry Hill, Jonathan Oaks, all these neighborhoods around Brookside in a 2 or 3 mile radius. And there's tons of them, thousands of homes. And when we say home, if you were a single parent, that's your home. If you live alone, that's your home. We want to build a Jesus-centered home in your life. And we think the best way to do that is through healthy relationships, which is why we love when you stick around after church and before church. And you get to know people. That's why I bought new furniture out there, so that you now have some places to hang out and get to know more people. That's why we do the greeting thing, so that people who feel like a drop in the bucket can come here and at least 1 or 2 people will at least acknowledge them. And so that's a big part of our vision right here. Now, in terms of this year alone, the way we think that vision is going to play out practically is by, again, something I mentioned in the message, and that is by developing these healthy spiritual rhythms in your life, intentional rhythms. And so right now we're working with developing a list of what those might be for you and me, so that as your church, we can empower and train and encourage that in you. But these are things that you can do at home. Rhythms, I think, are the key to building Jesus-centered homes. And again, we're going to get into that, but that's just the 30,000-foot view of our vision, the things we're celebrating, and what we're excited for this next year. So hopefully that builds questions in you. Come and talk to us if you want to. But I'm going to pass it off to Brandon right now, who's going to give us a talk on a little bit about what our budget is.
Good morning, church. I'm going to stand up.
Oh, Mike, thanks for making me look bad.
I feel like talking about the budget while sitting down.
Unbelievable.
Okay. I've got 3 minutes to talk about the 2025 budget, but let me get into real quick how we ended the year. And as we go along, be interactive. This is actually a celebration. So what our budget was for 2024 was $1,566,575. Where we actually ended up in our giving was $1,597,063. Right? Amen. You can clap. This is great news. And then our expenses for the year, $1,539,787. So we ended the year in a surplus, which is not only great, but allows us to do some things and pull some of the items that we had kind of initially budgeted for, pull them out and say, hey, we need to get these things taken care of right now. So where are we looking at for this coming year? Our 2025 budget, what we're presenting to you to affirm is $1,671,177, which is about a 6.7 increase. And so how do we get there? This has been something that Pastor John, he and I have been working on since, I think, end of October. A lot of hours have been put into it, and I can guarantee a lot of prayer has been put into it. So this is not just numbers that we're coming to you with of we think it's going to be about this. It is intentional. And so what are the increases? A lot of kind of just maintenance and general increases for the facilities. We need to continue to work on the building, right? The building is where we need to meet every week. We want to make sure that's taken care of. So that's some of the increases. What that looks like is our electrical bills have increased about 15%, which is like, yeah, that's enough. Well, it goes from $50,000 in the budget to what we spent almost $63,000 this year. So 15% for us is a lot. Our insurance has increased about 12%, which again goes from $24,000 to $31,000. So the thousands add up, right? And so that's where a lot of that can lie. And then one of the things that I'm most excited about, which is not a big monetary increase in the budget, but is staff development, right? As a congregation, as a church, we want to make sure our staff is growing spiritually and also within their own framework of their position. So that's something that I'm very excited about. If you'll look at the budget line for maintenance, this is one of the things I just wanted to highlight really quick. 25 budget, $232,900. And you might be thinking, wow, I can't believe our maintenance budget is only $232,000. I guarantee that is not what this building takes in maintenance. And one of the things I really wanted to highlight is our facilities director, Jacob, and his team. I think over in 2024, it was, I had it somewhere, I think it's like 1,300 to 1,400 hours of volunteer labor have gone into this building. And I cannot recognize that enough of how much money we've saved. Pastor Eric mentioned the furniture. Dustin saved us tens of thousands of dollars sourcing that out. So every way that we can to find ways to be good stewards of the funds that we've been entrusted with, we are doing that consistently. Going back to the electrical, I think that there's kind of two ways that we could think about this. We could hold it. I'd go back to the Matthew 25 parable with the talents. We could hold on to our building and the resources that we've been given and say, hey, we need to pinch pennies and nobody else uses it. Or what we do is, hey, as much as we can open up this building and be a beacon, a light available to the community or surrounding us, let's do that. And right, it's showing up. And so that return on investment has been great. Upcoming projects, just to highlight some of the stuff that's going to be happening in 2025. Some of the stuff isn't on the budget because we paid for it last year or we approved it last year, but finalizing our sanctuary HVAC project, that's a big one. Working on some of the roofing over towards the gym. The gym floor is going to be a 2025 project. We're still working on kind of finalizing that. And so how are we funding this? Part of it is part of the budget. So $150,000 every year we're setting aside monthly to work through kind of our maintenance and working on the building. So that's a very high level overview. I know I went over my time. I will be out there. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to either answer them now or write them down and get back to you later. But again, thank you for your generosity. Churches are only able to do what with the funds that we receive, right? And so we, again, want to be very good stewards while also saying yes. That's the approach that I know I take, that the staff wants to take, is how can we say yes to ministries, to opportunities for Brookside in our community? Thank you, guys.
Hello. My name's Joel Hyde, and I'm going to briefly talk about the sabbatical plan for Eric this year. We're really excited for Eric to refresh, reset, and then also for all of us here. This is a big step for all of us to step up and to continue the mission of Jesus-centered everything while Eric's away. The sabbatical is going to be 13 weeks. It'll start the end of May, and then it'll go all through August. Before he leaves, there'll be like a prayer service or a prayer time for Eric and his family. And then when he comes back, we'll have a huge celebration when he returns. So we'll be super excited when Eric comes back. The sabbatical, it was an elder-led decision. It wasn't something that Eric thought of. It was an elder-led decision, and we really, as an elder board, want to invest in Eric and his family, and we love them so much, and we want to invest in them. The 13 weeks that he's away, they all have been planned out. There'll be some personal enrichment for Eric. He'll be traveling some. There'll be a marriage retreat for him and Heather. There'll be a lot of time at home. There'll be some time away with family to refresh. And while Eric's away, he will not have a cell phone. So you will not be able to text him or call him or email him. Emails will be directed to other staff members. I know John Mueller and David will get emails and will be able to help. And then the elder board will be more than willing to help in any way possible. But we're really excited for Eric just to disconnect, to refresh, and then to restart, ready to go after the sabbatical. A couple other notes. The website is going to have a sabbatical landing page. It'll kind of broadly outline what he'll be doing during the sabbatical. There will also be a series that we'll be going through as a church, and I'll talk about that. It's called Rooted. There's also a giving opportunity. The sabbatical is it's not free, of course. There'll be some expenses with that. So there'll be a giving opportunity. If you want to give towards the sabbatical, you'll be able to do that from the website. And I guess from the pulpit, Nate Zimmerman, I don't know if he's here, but he's done a tremendous job securing speakers while Eric's gone. There'll be a number of speakers from the FEC denomination. Brandon Risch, Nate Hamlin, Tom Bernardo, Cal Rickner, amazing speakers. They'll be here. Cal will be here at least 4 weeks. And then we'll also have Phil Strom will speak 1 week, Luke Chappelle. There'll be an elder panel. And So we're really excited about the speakers too lined up while Eric's away. While he's away, there'll be an all church small group series called Rooted that we're looking for leaders to lead small groups. There'll be an all church book that we'll be going through while Eric's away. If you have any questions about the sabbatical, you can always ask me or any of the elders. There's also a sabbatical team that's met for over a year. Bill and Betsy Erdman have been huge part of heading up the sabbatical. Bruce Wright, Nate Zimmerman, Lynette Hyde are also, John Augsburger is also on the sabbatical team. So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to any of us about the sabbatical. And then there's also, if you're kind of confused about what is a sabbatical, FEC has made a great document on the importance of a sabbatical. And Dustin will there's 10 hard copies of what a sabbatical is and information about a sabbatical. And then also, if you want that emailed to you, the office will be happy to email that to you. So that's all I have.
And if I could, and I just want to very, very briefly just say, first of all, thank you for allowing Heather and I and the family to do this. There's a difference between a sabbatical and a leave of absence. A leave of absence is when something's wrong, you're either burned out, you've screwed up somehow, or the other board is like, we're not so sure about your future here. They put you on a leave of absence. This is not a leave of absence. A sabbatical is an intentional season of rest, renewal, rejuvenation, all those good R words. And the best analogy that I have for this is the reason that the Warriors choose not to play Steph Curry in one game is so he can be the best in the next game. And that's the best analogy. But no, there's nothing wrong. I'm not burned out. There's no moral failure, nothing like that, no embezzlement. I'm not planning on leaving. Anything else I need to say to? Okay, okay, good.
Yeah.
He's going to use this time to improve his pickleball game. So we hope that there's a return on investment there.
That's where all the money's going to.
So the next section, we're going to talk about the elders, and I'm going to do a very small part of that. So Jared, if you want to come up, as he's coming up, one of the things I wanted to point out that I forgot to with the budget is, what am I excited about? And I am excited about the number and the increase. When we were going over this with the elders and our board meeting, Denny asked me, do you think that this is going to be challenging? And I said, yeah, I hope so. I hope that it's stretching for the church in a really good way. And I think that kind of aligns with the sabbatical. Is we have really two options as a church. We can, while Pastor Eric and his family are on sabbatical, we can retreat, or we can really lean into, and that's what we believe from the board perspective, that what God is intending for this church is to lean in and be expecting of what will come of it. So that was an aside. That was not part of my plan. This is Jared Hevel, everybody. Jared is who we are bringing before you as a new elder candidate. So just a little bit about Jared and the process. Jared and his wife, Kara, have 3 kids, Brecken, Crew, and Isla. Jared is a VP of Innovation and Strategy with Rival Holdings. Jared is somebody that, just a little bit about the process. Jared has met with several of the elders along with Pastor Eric, and then he's also met with our nominating committee. So he is the one that we are bringing to you to affirm, and Steve will get into about the rest of us. Since they've come to Brookside, they kind of have put their money where their mouth is, right? So you see them investing their time with our 4th graders currently. And then also Jared serves on the board for the rescue mission. So if you want to get to know Jared, I'm sure that he'll be available to say hi and to meet you. We do also have a video, an introduction to just a little bit about him through the website and the app. So if you kind of go through the app, if you go to the annual business meeting, there is a video that we recorded just a little bit to get to know him. But we wanted you guys to see his face. So as you are voting on him, you're like, I have no idea who this person is. This is Jared. And we're really excited for the possibility for him to join our elder board. So thank you, Jared.
So I'm Steve Wyatt, by the way. Normally, if you've been here for years, you'll normally see about 3 elders on the ballot, either new elders, like Jared, a new candidate, or a reaffirmation of an elder for a new term. This year, we'll have an entire slate of elders for affirmation. And the reason for that is that over the last couple of years, we've had some people step off. We've had some new people step up and take over some unfinished terms. And then we've changed some of the positions. So the executive positions, like chairman, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, have their own terms of 3 years. And then the typical elder term is 3 years. And so by design, we should have about 3 elders for affirmation every year. But that's we've gotten off cycle where we could have had half of us come and do in 1 year. So what we've done, and you can see the slate of elders in the packet or on the online ballot. What we've done is reshuffled the terms so that we get back to that about three on each year term. And so they'll all appear for affirmation this year. I think that's it.
Good morning. I'm Scott Gibson. For those that I've not had the privilege of meeting, some more fun business type stuff, which I get bored on, but that's okay. We do another thing you'll be voting on this time is some changes to the bylaws. This is just a review that we do every few years just to make sure it's a legal document that we have to have on file that basically says how do we run the church administratively. It is an administrative document. So every few years we need to look at that to make sure that how we're running it is matching with our bylaws. And as you can imagine, things change, just like sometimes you find a better way to do something or just a different way to do something. We've had some changes over the years as membership has dropped. And we've talked about membership and how important that is, but it's dropped. And so that has caused us to change a little bit how we run some things sometimes for that. So all the changes that are in there, they are purely administrative. You can see there's a summary on the front, an executive summary, but then also a red line version of that. There's nothing in there that is any kind of theological or those type of changes. All the changes that we're proposing are purely administrative for that. So with that, I think we're going into highlights, and I get to start off. So the things I get excited about, I don't get excited about the business stuff, but the things I do get excited about is the ministry stuff. So I am the elder over the worship area as well as technology. And so as we look at worship, one of the things that we really try to do here at Brookside is a handful of things. One is we want to make sure that we are leading in biblical worship. Sometimes that stretches us a little bit. There is scripture in there that says, offer yourselves as a living sacrifice, holy and just. That's your true act of worship. Sometimes there's things that biblically that are in the Bible of how we can worship that us in our middle class United States world, it doesn't feel comfortable sometimes with that. So sometimes it may stretch you to offer yourself, so offer some of your preferences to over to God, to say, this is what I'm going to give up so that I can truly worship you. We want to create an environment that draws people closer to God. So how can we create our music, create our videos, create our lighting, all those things, an environment that's going to draw you closer to God in a way. Not only that, but we want that to be inviting to those who may not know, may not be close to God. They may be walking in here having a really hard time in life with that. Can we provide an environment that's going to draw them closer to God in some ways with that? And most importantly, we want to create an exciting environment that praises God because he is worthy of that. He is worthy of so much more than we can ever give him through our worship. So we want to do that. We want to say, God, thank you for what you've done for us and what you are doing in our lives for that. So those are the things that I get excited about when it comes from a worship standpoint. From a technology standpoint, we're looking to do a lot of things to enhance those things, to enhance what we do here in the building. We're going to be doing a lot of IT upgrades, some security upgrades, some of those things just to protect people, but also to be able to utilize the building in ways to draw people closer, as well as just so that we can utilize the building in different ways for that. So we're going to be doing some technology upgrades also for that. Now, I truly believe that we could have no lights, it could be dark in here, no sound systems, and we could have the most incredible worship time ever, because it's all about your heart with that. But we also believe that, can we utilize technology? Can we utilize those other things to draw people closer? So that's what we do. And when I get excited, especially when I'm up here playing guitar and I can look out and I can see the expressions on people's faces and I can see the movement that God is doing on it, I get excited, because that's about lives being changed. When I see them bring the little kids up front and to see them throwing their hands up in the air, there's times where we all have our in-ears in. Sometimes you can hear the worship happening even with these in-ears in our ears, and you'll see us pop our ears out, because it is so awesome to listen to people worshiping God. It's moving and it's really good. So that is my worship update. If I have not met you, I would love to do so. Feel free, if you have any questions from a worship standpoint or technology, let me know. We are, with some of those technology upgrades, we're going to be doing some fun wire pulls. So if you guys like pulling wire, or we're always looking for volunteers also from a technology standpoint to make a lot of these things happen. So help us out. Who's next?
Am I the last? Good morning. I'm Derek Paris. I'm the elder of Outreach, and I get the fun stuff. So Luke asked us to just share a little bit about what we're excited about. And it was pretty easy for me to come up with a bundle of ideas that Brookside, we have been involved with. So I don't know if any of you know this or not. We have had pictures up in the past, though, on the screen. We've started 2 churches in Zimbabwe. Did you guys know that? And they're getting healthy. One church had a problem for a little while. They're getting healthy. They're growing. If you're interested in seeing pictures, I've got a bundle of them on my phone. I'm happy to show you individually. I should have had Dustin put a bunch of them up here now, but that's really exciting. We've got 4 missionaries, 2 are national, 2 are international, that we, Brookside, sponsor, and they're doing the work of God there. We're enabling them to do those things and reaching out to other people locally. And so part of what I hope to happens is that I'm not a great cheerleader, but I hope I cheerlead us to be able to get up and out of the pews, out of the chairs, and do things with our faith. And we have lots of opportunities. Jared, you're part of the rescue mission. We have opportunities at the rescue mission, serving meals and helping the homeless. We do that also through Serving Simply, where we take food down and we serve the homeless down in Fort Wayne. We have other opportunities, mission trips. We took to the DR, hi, Michelle. And we have another DR trip scheduled. So if you have any medical history, experience, or construction experience, and I didn't really have construction experience, but I went down and I moved a lot of cinder blocks and mixed concrete and stuff like that. It was great. But we have another trip coming up, the opportunity to serve. We have a trip to North Carolina again. They've had one already. We've got more scheduled. We also support Woodburn Children's Home, and we raise money. In fact, we've got a fundraiser going on right now where we're bringing in cereals and paper towels and dry goods that we can put on their shelves. So we have so many opportunities to be able to serve and to put deeds to our faith. And so that's what I'm really hoping we do. And I can encourage you guys to search out opportunities in Fort Wayne that you can serve. So that's outreach.
I guess I'm supposed to brag about our youth and kids. So I'm the elder over the kidsmen and over the youth. And I guess the biggest thing I can tell you is if you guys have been here for a while, a couple of years ago, like 2018, 2019, we might have 1,000 or 1,100 people here, and we could get 180, 190, maybe 200 children and kids men. Right now, when we have 600 or 700 people here on a Sunday, we have 180, 190, 200 kids in children's ministry. It's really exciting. One of our big challenges is we're physically bursting at the seams. We're adding new classes and trying to split up some of the age groups already because we're so full. Great problems to have. We have a great team of volunteers, and we can always use more. Love to have you if you're not already volunteering. If you are already volunteering, we love you and appreciate you, and couldn't do it without you. So we've already added a couple of new classrooms in the last year. Probably add some more new classrooms in the next year just because the groups are getting so large in children's ministry. We have children's ministry on both hours. That was a new thing that we did last year, and that's been a success, and we'll continue to grow that. The youth group, since the start of the school year, we've had over 90 different youth attend. We have middle school on Sunday morning at the 9 o'clock hour, and on Wednesday night, from 6:30 to 8:30. We've had over 90 different ones. We're getting close to 70 on some Wednesdays. We usually average in the 50s. It's just a tremendous youth group. Our biggest group right now is the 8th graders, so we're going to have a huge high school next year, and we just see these big groups coming up. Again, tremendous growth in that area. We'd love to see more volunteers. Bill Urban does a great job as our youth director. Just like your elders up here, he has a full-time job. All of our volunteers have full-time jobs and families of their own, and they're just pouring selflessly into the youth and children's. If you have any questions about that, or if you want to volunteer, see Bill, see Danae, see Emma when she comes back here next week to volunteer in children's, or see me about it. Thanks.
I'll stand up this time since apparently that's the appropriate thing to do. But I just want to take just a minute. I know we're a little bit over time, but just to encourage membership in you. And if you want to know how we feel about membership, it is not a VIP club. It is not just all the privileges that you can sit wherever you want to. And it's not like that. It's more like trusted partnership. That's how we view it. And so if you become a member of Brookside, what you're saying is that not only is Brookside your home, but you're committed to carrying the torch of ministry, the vision, the mission, and the responsibility of Brookside Church. And so when there's a financial need, we're coming to you first before we go to anybody else. And we hope and trust that if there's availability, you'll be generous to those things. If there's a leadership position that we need to fill, we're going to go to you first, because we trust that you've discovered God's gifts and wiring for you, and you are committed to using those things in service to his kingdom. So it's more of a trusted partnership. There's a whole lot more we can say about that. And of course, I'd love to answer any kind of questions you might have about membership here at Brookside, and we encourage you to do that. If you're like, I'll be a member, what do I need to do? Go online, sign up for our next Brookside 101 class. That's the next thing for you. And if you have not yet been baptized, we encourage you to do that publicly. And at Brookside, just in case you're wondering, we practice believer baptism. We do not practice infant baptism, even though we do practice infant dedication. We think those are two different things. And so we encourage believer baptism. And those are really the two things that we ask you to do prior to membership. That's Brookside 101 and being baptized. And then we'll have some great conversations with you and have you become a trusted partner here at Brookside Church. Guys, one thing before I hand it back to John to kind of wrap up for us is of all the things that we're celebrating here, there's a couple things that definitely need to be noticed. I want you guys to know that the elders and the staff have gone through 2 to 3 years worth of very intense and sometimes very hard growth in our leadership. The trust level over the last 2 to 3 years has skyrocketed. And because of that, the health, the unity, the cohesiveness of the team, both elders and the staff, is better than it's ever been, at least in the time that I've been here. And so I just want to say thank you to all the elders and all the staff for the hard work that they have put in. Would you join me in thanking the elders and the staff for the hard work and the resilience that they have shown in building the team that they have? And I can't really talk about this without, at the same time, recognizing all of you, the volunteers who make this place work. And so if you're giving of your very precious and valuable time to serve in some capacity here at Brookside, please know that we deeply appreciate you and are so grateful that you have given us that time. Thank you very much. And I think we as an elder board would like to just celebrate you. So thank you for your generosity and all your hospitality. So let me turn it back over to John to wrap this up.
All right. Thank you again for your time and attention. We appreciate you all being here. And as has been mentioned, perhaps something that has been said this morning has stirred up a question, or perhaps even through this coming week, there will be a question that pops into your mind. Keep in mind that the business meeting is officially still open through all of this week. It will not close until 1 p.m. next Sunday, the 16th. So there's still time to interject thoughts or questions or whatever. If you, we will try to be as available as possible out here after this meeting. Obviously, Eric will not be available too much, but he's got to start the next service. But that being said, as far as voting goes, the voting, there are two methods or ways to vote. Preferred method is online, electronically, but I know that maybe for some of you that might not be your cup of tea or the way you prefer to do that. There is a paper ballot at the end, the back of these packets, so you're also welcome to fill that out. I'm assuming that placing that, either giving it to an elder personally or turning it into the church office would be the best way to make sure that that vote doesn't get misplaced or mishandled or whatever. And that is pretty much the end of this portion of the meeting. So you're free to go. Enjoy the rest of the day. Be safe out there. And we'll look forward to seeing as many of you as possible next week. Thank you.